What you're about to see was filmed just a few days before I broke my heel during a photo shooting. That was 6 weeks ago, 6 weeks in which I could not finish the video. So just give me a few seconds to come to the point. I had to absolutely keep my foot still, the leg up, and lie in bed. And every little thing became a challenge. Even limping to the bathroom with crutches felt like a travel around the world, which exhausted me and made me sweat. And I had to give up all my workout routines, which was a huge setback because I finally started to see first serious improvements. Anyway, today I did what I wanted to do since day one of the plaster. Seize the time to shoot more videos. Hold on for another second. Whenever I rewatch my videos after they were published, and that happens every single time, I realize that they're not consistent. I mean, it's clear for me, but I feel like it doesn't tell you the story or make the point clear. And guess what happened when I rewatched the video you're about to see that was supposed to be released weeks ago? Exactly. So what I'm gonna do is to watch the video right now together with you, and whenever there needs to be additional information, I will pause and explain what I wanted to say back then. Okay? Let's jump into it! Chibbity-dubbity bam! This is about how it all began. I started my first company in 1999, which was in the past century, even in the past millennium. Yeah, that's how old I am. I was about 25 years at that point, and this company was a recording studio which developed from my hobby, because I started playing in bands at about 6 years of age or so, and I began recording my own demos at the age of, I guess, 11 or 12. And over time I realized that it's going to make sense to invest the money in buying own equipment than paying for recording studios when it came to pro recording. But the other musicians in my bands didn't want to invest that much money at once. So I bought everything step by step on my own because I knew it would pay off in the long run. And everything I earned, I reinvested in equipment and in developing the studio. I bought new microphones and cables and invested in whatever acoustic treatments. Okay, most of the money I actually invested in outboard equipment like compressors, de-essers, noise gates, preamps, stuff like that. And finally in 1999 it was planned to open the first private radio station in the region where I live. And they wanted me to select all the equipment and software that's needed to run a radio station. And I stood at the radio station for about 3 years, almost 3 years. I produced a lot of radio shows and commercials, even had my own radio show. During that period, I was asked to also make flyers and posters for the clients that wanted me to make their radio commercials, which I tried because I've already designed a few covers for demos and CDs at that time, for the bands that recorded at my studio. I realized that I'm not a good designer, but I knew a friend's friend which was at school with a guy who is quite a good designer because he made CD covers as well and they looked gorgeous. So I called this guy and asked him if he wanted to work together with me on a few jobs, which worked perfectly from the first second on. And so we're still partners and went through highs and lows over the years. There's not one single word to describe this partnership. Thanks, Donnie. So finally, we started together officially an ad agency because we produced still some radio commercials and I was recording bands in the studio. And on the other hand, Donnie designed everything needed from CD covers to posters and flyers, menus and selling corporate designs and logos. And over time, the company developed and we got our first employees. In 2008, Roberto joined the company and he is still an important part of the company. I knew him from my band experience because he was developing all those websites we needed for the band and other bands. Yeah, and we wanted to offer web development to our clients at the ad agency. Everything went fine and we were growing and finally had to leave the office at my house, which became too small, and we moved to our first real office in 2011. In 2014 we moved to an even bigger and way nicer office right in the center of Graz, but after a few months in 2015 the horror show began. We lost a lot of money because of a client that didn't pay, and we had to leave this office because our office partner, another ad agency, he wanted us to leave, which cost a lot of money, finding a new office, buying all the furniture, a phone system, a printer, everything we sold a couple of months ago, we had to buy completely new. Well, I think this part was hard to get, so let me give it a try to clear it up. As I mentioned, we've been in an office partnership with another ad agency, and what exactly happened was that they had an office space that was way too big for them, so they offered co-working, which doesn't work well. And when they heard that we wanted to move to the city center, they kind of persuaded us to join their office. Everything fine so far, just one of their conditions was that instead of using our own furniture, a printer, phone system and stuff like that, we had to use their equipment that they already had in the office. And we accepted that, sold everything we had, most of the things way too cheap just to get rid of them. But when we were forced to leave after a couple of months, within weeks, we had to buy everything new again, which cost thousands of euros. This whole year turned out to be horrible. All in all, we lost about 120,000 euros, which easily could break our neck financially. So I had to come up with a plan B. What if the ad agency was lost? That's when I first thought about investing in other companies and working with other companies. And I had 3 opportunities, and all of them went well. And because I was good in bringing my experience to other companies and startups, I realized that my part should be working on companies than in companies. In the end, Daniel and me were lucky as well, because everything went fine with No Sun, the ad agency, as well. So I started to look for other opportunities to invest and get in touch with young entrepreneurs and startups, startup founders. That was a bit of a jump there. So, though everything went fine with No Sun, I saw my future more and more as an entrepreneur than as the CEO of my own company. An entrepreneur engaged in different exciting industries and trying to create and evolve something new. And that's why I started to keep my eyes and mind open for new opportunities. And of course I got in touch with other investors as well, which I learned a lot from. And step by step I got in this situation I'm in now, being a board member at the bank and the Chamber of Economics, working with young creative talents every day and meeting interesting people, talking to them, listening to their experiences, and still grow and learn and evolve. In these 7 years, from 2015 to now, happened a lot. And not everything was fun, and not everything was going well, but I developed my life from mediocrity to being kind of a millionaire, which sounds bigger than it is, having a net worth of about $1 million. It's a lot of responsibility and still a lot of hard work, but I'm happy the way it is. I hope you liked my story. Hit the like button if so, leave a comment, I appreciate it. And bam, the subscribe button to support me on the road to 1 million subs. Thanks for watching, have a nice one, bye. So, just one more thing. As mentioned, the name of my first company was No Sun, and that weird name comes from... No, I'm not gonna tell you where it comes from. If you want to find out, follow this link. There are quite a few explanations, including the truth, of course. And I'm looking forward to your guesses in the comment section. See you in the next one. Bye.